I'm a fiscally conservative person, and a $70 million price tag is a large lump to swallow. But I ask myself, why is this so large? Why are we looking at this contract and some people saying, oh, it's a lot of money, and we need to consider that? I agree we have to consider that. And I think there's several things we have to consider with that. In our committee meeting, we heard a lot of reasons why we felt that this contract was high. The change in COLA, the retirement, all the different pay rates, the municipalities and that. And all those factors come into play. But I don't think we can ignore the national and state of Connecticut anti-police sentiment that we've seen. The defund the police movement and the local police accountability law has taken a massive toll on our forces' morale. Just the nature of the bill, police accountability, indicates that there was a lack of accountability. And while that may be true in other states, anybody who has a good penchant for research can find that that is not the case in the state of Connecticut. The abhorrent behavior that we saw in 2020 is not something that you witness here in Connecticut. But our police forces felt the wrath of that incident. Our police is the highest trained state police in the country. You can look up hours that they are required to do for their training. They are the highest trained police force in the country. Their instances of use of force is the second lowest in the country by 0.1%. Our state police deserve our support. The work that they do and the job that they do is amazing. And for us to sit and think about it, we have a debt to them. Trooper recruitment is at the lowest it's been in over 18 years. The chart that I got only went back 18 years. I think it's probably even lower than that. But the commissioner said to us in the meeting that his ideal number would be 1,150 troopers. We're around 300 less than that right now. We currently, according to him, sit at about 876 troopers, and we're seeing nothing but a steady decline in the people who are applying and the people who are actually becoming troopers. The people who are interested in this job, it's just drying up. The lower numbers are not only a risk to them and their job, it's a risk to us as the public. The reason we went to 1,200 troopers was because of a crime that was committed and the police couldn't get there in time because they were spread so thin. I fear that that's something we're going to see again. We have such a shortage. The overtime is high because we can't cover the basic shifts. We can't get people to apply because the trooper trainee's salary was so low. So we're doing these things to recognize that we need to find a way to recruit people and make them want to be police officers again. In the meantime, while we're at these levels, our safety is compromised. Now, I don't know about anybody else in here, but I get regular emails from my constituents talking about the speed on this road, the speed on that road, the speed on the highways. Why aren't our cops out there doing traffic enforcement? Every trooper that I know will tell you traffic enforcement is a luxury. They would love to do it if they were not being spread so thin. Having one trooper cover 75 square miles, one trooper to cover that. They don't have the time to do traffic enforcement when they're replying to assault and batteries, domestic violence, emergency committals, robberies, catalytic converters, larceny, all these different things. They're out there handling the crime. They can't do traffic enforcement. Just the other day, I met with the DOT commissioner, and he told me nearly 370 people died on our roads last year to motor vehicle-related incidents. Where are the cops, right? Well, they're out answering the other crime. They can't sit there and do that because our numbers are so low. We have to correct this because it is an issue of safety, not just theirs, but ours. And this also has a corresponding overtime. As Representative I don't want to mess your name up. D'Agostino, me? I married Italian, I'm Irish. The overtime that we're seeing right now is very high. And the reason it's high is because we have an obligation to fill these shifts. And if we can't fill them, we have to call people in and mandate them to do it. And that's a risk not only, again, to the financial aspect of this, but to the troopers. When they're working 80, 90 hours a week, they're not as sharp as they can be, but they don't have a choice because in order to keep us safe, they have to put their safety in the harm's way. So all of these reasons, I believe, are valid. All of these reasons are justified. These are things that I ask this chamber to consider when we debate this contract. The corresponding price tag to adequately compensate these troopers who answer the calls when we are in our dire straits, who are the ones that respond when we call 911. These are things we have to consider when we look at a $70 million price tag and say, is our safety worth that number? And I stand here in strong support of our Connecticut State Police, and I say a resounding yes, it is. Thank you, ma'am.